Before I begin this month's video, I'd like to give a quick shout out to my friend Capchar. He makes scary creepypasta videos if you're into that sort of thing. It is criminal this man doesn't have more subscribers. Go check him out, link in the description, but now on with the video. The Secret Saturdays. So in case you don't know, The Secret Saturdays is a 2008 animated series about a family of scientists fighting/protecting cryptids. I have always found the idea of cryptids fascinating. The idea there was some unknown, undiscovered species out there lurking in the shadows. Albeit, even if a lot of them are silly. But being about cryptids isn't the only cool thing about this show. Secret Saturdays connects to Ben 10, and Ben 10 connects to Generator Rex. So it's this one big cinematic universe of cartoons. And all these shows had a pretty similar formula. They weren't rip-offs of each other, but still. Danny Phantom is not connected, but it does have a lot of the same qualities, and this is my channel, I can do whatever I want. So the formula is that there's this kid with powers who's also some sort of hybrid kind of human and a different race. The hero must then fight creatures of the other species as well as humans. And the hero has a team of friends and/or family that helps them. And also the main villain's name begins with the letter V. And yes, all of these attributes apply to all of these series. And I mean all of them, all of them. Some of you might be thinking, but wait, what about Zack? He's not a hybrid. Well, spoilers. Oh, come on, you didn't think this video was gonna be spoiler-free, did you? But before I reveal more spoilers about a cartoon that's over 10 years old, I gotta answer the question that you're probably not wondering. Will I review the other shows as well? The answer? Yes. By the way, I didn't make this image on screen. It was from like a fan-made trailer, and I have it linked below if you want to see it. So yeah, go click the link. But for now, back to The Simpsons. As stated before, it exists in a world where cryptids are real. And the Saturdays are a part of a group called the Secret Scientists that's dedicated to studying the cryptids. I did a video about them a while back, and I was planning on doing more like it, but I don't think I will. If you want to check out that video, link is also in the description, but I'ma just recap it in case you don't remember. So they found this thing called the Kerr Stone, and it was a map to this ancient dragon cryptid called Kerr that was said to be the most powerful and most evil cryptid in existence. However, the stone was stolen from them by this guy, Vincent Argost. The scientists broke into Argost's mansion and stole the stone back. However, most of them, like a lot of them, were killed in the process. They decided it would be safest to split the stone in three and hide each of them out individually. And that happened the same year Zack was born. Now let's focus on the family a bit more for now. Zack's parents are Solomon and Drew Saturday. Doc grew up in a lab around scientists, which is why he's a very logical thinker. But with Drew, things are a little bit different. Her biological parents were killed in a snowstorm, and instead she was raised by Tibetan monks. Drew is more willing to believe in supernatural forces like ghosts. And, of course, like any other family, the Saturdays have their fair share of pets. There's Fisk the gorilla cat, who is not Bigfoot. He's the Fiskerton Phantom, not the same thing. Don't get them confused. They also have a Komodo dragon that's accurately named Komodo. Now, in the real world, Komodo dragons can camouflage themselves, but in the show, he can straight up become invisible. And of course, let's not forget Zahn. Some might wonder, how exactly did a 65 million-year-old dinosaur end up in the modern times? Well, screw you for asking. Whenever she flies around, she makes this sound. I don't know how to describe it, but I just really like hearing it. It's just it's a fun sound. Let's see. We've done the parents, we've done the pets. Who else is there? Of course, how could I forget? Zach! Zach always wants to get in on the action. He's a kid and he wants to have fun, but when you need a superhero, he'll get the job done. Despite Zach's immaturity, he still cares about his family and the cryptids they protect. Hey, remember how Zach was born the same year as that whole curse stone incident thing? Yeah, well, a result of that is now he has the ability to influence cryptids with the power of his mind. This is a power that would prove useful in later adventures, but would still take a lot of training to master. The main events of the series are kicked off once Vivi Argost returns to steal back the 3 fragments of the Cursed Stone. We're also introduced to the series' secondary antagonist, Van Rook, and his mysterious apprentice. They're mercenaries with jetpacks and helmets and missiles and stuff, so basically Boba Fett if Boba Fett were actually cool. This also marks the start of Zach's parents bringing him on adventures more often. Over the course of the first season, we'd see the family tracking down Argost and collecting more clues to finding Kerr. And every now and then they'd team up with a secret scientist along the way. But not all of them are good guys. One member, Agent Epsilon, is a part of the second organization that's a bit more shady. The Saturdays in the organization find themselves fighting each other on multiple occasions. Zach would become rivals with Epsilon's son, Francis. Well, actually, at one point it's revealed that Francis is actually a clone of Agent Epsilon, and whenever he grows up, he'll take his place and become the next Epsilon. Well, actually, Epsilon is the 5th letter of the Greek alphabet, and after Epsilon is Zeta, so that means Francis, if he's after Epsilon and he's going to replace him, that means he should be Agent Zeta, not Agent Epsilon. And if Epsilon is 5 and Zeta is 6, that means Francis is Agent 6. It makes a little too much sense if you ask me. Scientists aren't the only allies to the Saturdays. There's also Uraj, the fish boy king, and Wadi, the thief girl, and also Zach's love interest. Okay, real quick, I want to talk about Zach Monday. Evil twins have existed since the dawn of time. There's always a clone, always an alternate universe or something. But I think Zach Monday stands out a bit more among the other evil twins. You see, Monday is made out of antimatter, which means him and Saturday can't ever come in contact with each other, or else the world will literally melt. Normally you'd expect this type of character to be a throwaway one-off, but they actually find a very clever way to make him and his antimatter weakness important to the finale. So he's called Zach Monday because Monday is a not fun version of Saturday, even though Sunday is a not fun version of Saturday. Cause you have to get up early to go to church and go to bed early to go to school. Just kidding, I don't go to church. Or school. While fighting the Amaroks, Zach would briefly team up with a Van Rook's apprentice, hinting that maybe he's not all that much of a bad guy. Later, when fighting the Alkali Lake monster, the apprentice would be unmasked and revealed to be Drew's long-lost brother. Drew would trust him, whereas Doc was a bit more skeptical. He would temporarily join the team until getting frustrated and quitting. Later on, they would team up with Doyle yet again to stop an illegal underground cryptid fighting ring. However, they were tricked into opening what was believed to be Kerr's tomb, and Argost was able to steal something inside. And that thing he found/stole was a statue of Fiskerton. And I really like how this episode shows how much Zack cares about cryptids. We may see them as these scary, mysterious monsters, but at the end of the day, they're just animals. Argost would send Van Rook piecemeal to capture Fiskerton. Zack was only a millisecond too late to save Fiskerton, and he ended up getting captured. The family would infiltrate Weird World in an effort to save Fiskerton. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, I can't believe I forgot this, but Argost is the host of a TV show called Weird World, where he puts different cryptids on a showcase or whatever. And Zack would often sneak out and watch it against his parents' wishes. At this point, we are introduced to the Naga, a race of highly intelligent snake people that worship Kerr. Their leader explains that Fiskerton is actually not Kerr, but is instead a Lemurian, a creature that can lead someone to Kerr. Doyle, who showed up to help save Fiskerton as well, overheard this conversation. Returning to Weird World was hard for Doc, since he was still haunted by the deaths of the other secret scientists. At one point, he would almost kill Argost in a blind rage. In the end, they are able to rescue Fiskerton, and Doyle decides to be a permanent member of the group again. But they kept the whole Lemurian thing between the three of them. Later, they would team up with Zack's old babysitter, Abby, to help uncover Fiskerton's past. Abby is also the sister of Miranda, one of the other secret scientists. They would find out that the Lemurians were an ancient race dedicated to protecting Earth from Kerr. Then it was revealed that Abby was evil. At some point, she had been recruited as Van Rook's new apprentice. Her role in the series is kind of an opposite of what Doyle's is. Doyle was a villain who became a hero. She was a hero who became a villain. Oh, and to add insult to injury, her and Doyle started dating right before this was revealed. In a battle with the Naga, Doyle would steal a Kerr-detecting relic and not tell anyone. Fisk began to open up about his Lemurian heritage, and the Saturdays believed it could help them find Kerr. They would employ a secret scientist named David Barra to put Fisk in a trance. At the same time, Argost sent a neural parasite to spy on them. While asleep, Fiskerton's conscious built a map that pointed to Antarctica. So they journeyed to Antarctica and found Kerr in the flesh. All the mentions and build-up of Kerr leading to this one climactic moment. And to top it off, Argost had succeeded in taking control of Kerr. After a long and grueling final showdown, Argost and Kerr were defeated. So the bad guys are defeated, everything's fine, everything's good, everyone's happy, but then Doyle shows up with the Kerr detector, and then starts going wild around Zack. All that effort, all that time spent, all that investigating, and the enemy was right in front of them the whole time. Fighting a monster is one thing, but realizing you're the monster is something else. Zack was actually Kerr reincarnated into a human. Not only that, but he was actually a human cryptid hybrid. This happened because Kerr's soul was trapped inside the Kerr stone, and whenever the Saturdays discovered it, it was released, and then sort of merged with the unborn Zack. That other Kerr was a red herring, an imposter Kerr, if you will. This was one secret the Saturdays couldn't keep. Soon the secret scientists would begin hunting them down. Their betrayal was actually foreshadowed in the episode Paris is Melting, in which we see how quickly the scientists are willing to turn on the Saturdays out of suspicion. Some who were a bit more acquainted with the Saturdays didn't partake in hunting them down, but others were more willing to get their hands dirty, Epsilon of course being one of them. Oh, but of course the scientists weren't the only ones interested in this revelation. The Naga wanted Zack to accept his true Kern nature and become their leader and destroy humanity and all that stuff, but of course Zack refused. Actually, something kind of funny is at one point they're trying to figure out where the Naga is going to attack next, and I was thinking probably New York or Las Vegas. One of those two places. It's always one of those two places, and then Zach's like, I know it's Hong Kong, and then it actually was New York, and they got the wrong place. Man, should have listened to me, guys. With not many options left, Zack sought help from Argost of all people. Meanwhile, Doyle along with Zahn and Van Rook begin investigating Argost's past. At the start of the series, Doyle and Van Rook were both bad guys, but by the end they're both good guys. So it's like everything has gone full circle. And then there was this one episode called The 1,000 Eyes of Aztuli, and this one was like really scary. I don't know why, but it was. Probably one of the scariest in the entire show. So I've actually been pronouncing its name wrong. It's pronounced Aoizotl, and I think I figured out why it was so scary. The first time we see it, it's like sneaking up on someone, and we don't actually see it, we just see its tail. And its tail has like a hand attached to it, and it looks unnatural, it looks unreal. Not only that, but it has the ability to steal people's eyes permanently, and it almost does it to Drew. At the end of the episode, Zack's parents find out he's been watching Weird World again, so they throw away the TV. Literally, they kick it out the window of the airship. Later on, Zack would begin to realize that his Kerr powers were corrupting him. Hey, remember how earlier I said that Kerr spirit was banished into the Kerr stone? Well, it was banished there by this group of sorcerers called the Legion of Garuda. And their last surviving member is this guy named Goku. So the Saturdays think that Goku can separate Kerr's spirit from Zack, which he can, with the use of a magic flute called the Flute of Gilgamesh. But Goku didn't tell them that extracting Kerr's spirit would kill Zack in the process. So a fight breaks out between the Saturdays scientists and the Naga, but of course Argost ends up stealing the flute anyway. After that, the scientists and Saturdays would form a temporary truce. Unfortunately, during this truce is when Zack's affiliation with Argost is exposed to, everyone. Then Argost shows up and kidnaps Zack and brings him to his lair. Meanwhile, Doyle, Drew, and Van Rook meet up with the Tibetan monks. They reveal to Doyle and Drew that their parents weren't actually killed by a blizzard, but instead the monster known as the Yeti. Not only that, but they find in its cave a mold of Argost's mask. Argost is the Yeti. He also reveals that he's stolen the magic mirror that can summon Zack Monday. Then he uses the Flute of Gilgamesh to siphon all of his powers away and straight up kill him. Zack is saved by his family, but of course Argost escapes and is more powerful than ever. Argost begins his invasion on Washington, D.C., which is actually another one of those cliche gets attacked a lot locations in scary movies. But Zack has his own cryptid army led by his allies. This is it, everyone. The final showdown. The duel to the death. The end game, and for real this time. Drew and Doyle confront Argost with the knowledge of what he did to their parents. Argost replies with, "Did I? I've heard so many screams I've lost count." Be honest with me, was that a good Argost impression? Then the secret scientists show up and they use a recording of the Flute of Gilgamesh to attack Zack and Argost. Dr. Gray realized she didn't want to kill Zack and then sabotage the controls to beam in ship. Unfortunately, that allowed Argost to escape with the Flute of Gilgamesh. So the Saturdays chase him back to his old lair at Weird World. The Saturdays arrive at Weird World only to find Argost conspiring with the Naga. The leader of the Naga proceeded to murder Van Rook on the spot. Zack agreed to face Argost alone if he'd spare the rest of his family. This is kind of obvious, but I'm gonna say it anyway. It's a trap! Argost uses the Flute of Gilgamesh to drain away Zack's life force energy. And yes, Zack dies. But there is something Argost didn't understand about his Kerr power. You might recall how matter and antimatter aren't supposed to exist at the same place in the same time. And when Argost tried to wield both at once, it ended up destroying him. So the rest of the family rushes to save Zack, but it was too late. Nah, just kidding, they got to him in time. But he permanently lost his Kerr powers. And with Kerr gone, the Saturdays were no longer fugitives. In the final moments of the series, everyone is seen honoring Van Rook at his funeral. We get a callback to the very first episode in which Doyle and Rook are arguing about how many grenades you should use in a fight. Doyle states 2 is plenty as he places 2 flowers on Van Rook's grave. And thus the series was brought to a conclusion. Now let's reflect on it a bit. They hinted at Doyle being a good guy before they actually revealed he was a part of the family. It was revealed Argost's face was a mask at the end of Season 2, but it was hinted at the end of Season 1. It's an overarching story with so many twists and turns. And the secret scientists were kind of in the right to be scared of Zack. He's a little kid with the powers of a god. Even Sul-Kalu, the great hunter, was scared of what he would become. Argost is very intelligent. He's very sophisticated. He wears all these fancy robes and sprinkles little French words into his sentences and stuff. He's more sophisticated than the average person, despite being a literal beast. But you see, I have a pretty big criticism with Argost. They never explain how he knows about Kerr or why he hates humanity so much. And I think there's a very simple solution to this. If Argost's habitat was destroyed by humans, maybe doing construction or drilling for oil or something, that would actually make a lot of sense. It would explain why he hates humans so much, and why he always acts sophisticated, because he sees them as nothing but barbarians. The whole habitat destroyed thing would fit very well into the themes of the rest of this universe. That was like a huge wasted opportunity right there. Before I close out this video, there's one more thing I have to say. The show is called Secret Saturdays, but new episodes of it were always aired at Friday nights. This is a reference to the classic Saturday morning adventure cartoons of the old times. The family having matching uniforms and monsters as pets and an airship and even the father being named Doc all give off that very adventure vibe. It took a lot of those classic ideas and modernized them, revamped them, if you will. And it's a shame it never got more respect. It really deserves it. But that is all I have for you today, folks. This has been Bradworst, signing off. The X-Men are a rip-off of the Doom Patrol. The Doom Patrol are a rip-off of the Fantastic Four. The Fantastic Four are a rip-off of the Challenges of the Unknown. Originality doesn't exist.